Here is the truth about the New York Jets after their loss to the Baltimore Ravens yesterday. There's a lot that happened in that game, and there's some things I want to share here about some takeaways I have, the current state of this Jets football team. As we all know, the Jets are 2-9 after their loss to the Baltimore Ravens, and now they're taking on the Atlanta Falcons this Sunday. The Jets currently have the 4th overall pick. If you guys are interested right now, I know there's some people still rooting for the Jets to lose for a better draft pick, but at the end of the day, there are some things you want to look at in that game yesterday that you can be excited about. There's some things in that game yesterday that you can be concerned about. So I want to break that all down right here in this video on Jets Media. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, folks, and hit that thumbs up button. And feel free to comment your biggest takeaways. What are you seeing from this Jets football team that gives you signs of encouragement, that also gives you reasons to be concerned? Love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section as always. So let's get straight into it to reveal the truth about this Jets football team. Now, when it comes to what are we even looking at when we're going up against a Baltimore Ravens team as 13.5-point underdogs on the road, you change your quarterback to Tyrod Taylor, you don't have Garrett Wilson healthy, like there's not really a lot to play for, but obviously we're looking at the evaluation of this entire roster. And the first thing I have to bring up that I'm noticing is the players that are making the most impactful plays are the guys that Darren Muji brought in the trade market, right? Jawan Briggs had another great game, had a fantastic sack, looking like Quinnen Williams. Harrison Phillips had a really good game against the run. Two players that Darren Muji brought in August at a position that now is a big need heading into the offseason after the Jets traded away Quinnen Williams. Brownlee, the Jets' nickel corner, he has took a little bit step backwards a little bit after they first initially traded for him from the Tennessee Titans, but he had a good game yesterday, 2 back-to-back plays at the goal line, stuffing Derrick Henry. I still like the idea of Brownlee being the starting nickel. He feels like a mini linebacker, which is what Quincy Williams alluded to him as, of course. John Mechie III, a player the Jets got from Michael Carter II, back-to-back games with a touchdown. A.D. Mitchell's getting his feet wet a little bit, getting 2 catches. One of them was a big-time one on 2nd and 11 that Tyrod escaped. So I feel like the first takeaway is the new guys that Darren Muji are bringing in from the trade market, they're playing well. And I think Darren Muji deserves credit there that he's finding ways to get the Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji players that fit their mindset on this roster, and they're giving them the opportunities, and they're taking it and running with it. So that's a very good sign here right now, is that we have these players that are absolutely making some big-time plays and looking like household pieces of this organization for the 2026 season and beyond. I think that's really what we're looking at. Which players are we excited to build around for the 2026 season? And everybody I mentioned is pretty much under contract for next year. They have the rights to Harrison Phillips next year. Jawan Briggs, I believe they have the rights for. John Mechie is a restricted free agent, so they're going to be able to bring him back if they want to. A.D. Mitchell's under cheap contract control. So the Jets did not get these guys for a 1-year rental. They're bringing them in here now to give them their opportunity to learn this system, learn their identity, establish a brand of football, and you saw it. And a big thing about yesterday's game that I love, which is you're seeing a brand of football start to be established on the defensive side of the ball. Now, the thing that needs to get worked on is, of course, forcing turnovers. That's a whole other conversation. But in terms of stopping the run, limiting Derrick Henry to the 64 yards. I know he got his 2 touchdowns at the goal line. That's going to happen against Derrick Henry, but I felt like the defense did relatively well. In that first half, they did not allow the Ravens to score any points until late in the second quarter. They got a field goal before halftime, and then in that third quarter, the Ravens, of course, get that first down on a 3rd and 15 penalty by Isaiah Oliver. That's backbreaking, and then they end up getting that touchdown, and then the Jets go for it on 4th down on offense, and they don't get it, which sets up the defense with a short field to protect, and then they should have got a stop on 3rd down, but no, Tony Adams had a boneheaded penalty. Outside of those little mistakes of those 2 penalties, I feel like the defense did pretty good, man. They held Lamar Jackson, a 2-time MVP quarterback, in check. They were playing a different style, and this defense, talking about that side of the ball, and the team, you can even say in general, it looks like a completely different squad. If you go back to the game against the Bills early on in the season, against the Cowboys early on in the season, if you go watch those games and look at the All-22 film, compared to these version of the Jets, it's a night and day difference. Now, if you look at this game and you didn't watch it and you see the Jets lose 23-10, they lost by double figures, they only scored 10 points, you could be like, all right, the Jets stink, but we're not embarrassed anymore. Like, I don't feel embarrassed coming out of this game. Like, early on in the season, I was like, this is embarrassing, bro. Like, that's why I was going crazy. And I'm like, this is just incompetence at its finest. Like, what are we doing? I don't feel that way right now. Like, you can see the signs of improvement, and they're just like 1 to 2, 3, 4 mistakes that can clean up, that could easily start winning games. And obviously, if Breece Hall did not fumble that rock and he got in the end zone, we're talking about a 3-point game in the fourth quarter against a scorching hot Baltimore Ravens team on the road. The Jets are that close, and you look at the Baltimore Ravens roster compared to the New York Jets roster, the talent is like unbelievable in terms of the difference. The Ravens have all pros across their team. They got a 2-time MVP quarterback. They got a Hall of Fame running back. They got the offensive line that is stout. They got defensive players all over the place. Like, their talent compared to the Jets is night and day. They are like way better than the Jets. Everybody expected the Ravens to blow out the Jets 35-3, but no, the Jets kept it close, and that's really what I like about Aaron Glenn's version of this Jets football team at this stage of the season. They're building something. They're establishing a brand, and I feel like that's what it's all about. How can you create a foundation that the players are bought into? Special teams has continued to show signs of improvement. Isaiah Williams had a lot of productive returns on the kick return and punt return. Kene Nwangu didn't really get a lot of opportunities. I think he only had one kick that was returned because I think the Ravens really honed in to avoid Kene, which was smart on their end. And then when the Jets, offensively speaking, this is why they go to Tyrod. Now, I know the Jets lost. They only scored 10 points. You want to see this offense be better. The offensive line took a little bit of step back from a run game perspective. Breece Hall was limited from establishing that run. But when in terms of opening up the pass attack, you saw Tyrod Taylor be in rhythm, that timing, John Mechie getting open and finding him on third downs. That touchdown he had was fantastic, a 2-route concept that freed up John Mechie. The ball got out on time, hit Mechie right in stride, and he was able to pick up the touchdown. A.D. Mitchell on that 2nd and 11, a fantastic play by Tyrod Taylor to escape the pressure, wave to A.D. Mitchell, throw the ball on the run. A.D. Mitchell spin move, make some plays. Like, I really do feel like you look at this offense, the idea right now is for Tanner Engstrand to get comfortable, to build some type of brand on offense, so whenever they get their new quarterback next offseason and a lot of new players, and probably new offensive linemen, new wide receivers, probably new running backs, even new tight ends, like, there's going to be so many new players coming in the offseason. They're trying to establish their style on the fly, and that's what the season is now become. When you're 2-9, you don't have a lot to play for. The Jets are trying to establish something. When they make their mistakes, they can go out there and learn from it. Now, there was a lot of mistakes that needs to be brought up. I don't understand the whole philosophy still of Isaiah Davis getting the rock 3 straight times. I know the Jets coaching staff has confidence in their guys, and they feel like Isaiah Davis is capable of picking up a first down if you give him the ball 3 straight times out of shotgun. I feel like that should be abandoned. I don't think Tanner Engstrand should continue to try to keep doing that if that was up to me. But I do feel like, as a collective, as an offense, there are signs of improvement. The offensive line definitely did not have their greatest game. I feel like the Ravens front 7 definitely dominated at some points, especially against the run. But I feel like Tyrod getting the ball to John Mechie III the way that he did, it's really showing us something. And John Mechie is establishing himself as a legit slot receiver on this football team moving forward. And A.D. Mitchell is starting to show some signs as well. Only 2 catches, but I feel like the aggressiveness of the Jets offense was opened up. Now, honing in on John Mechie III, what I love about him is it feels like he knows exactly where he needs to be on the football field, and Tyrod knows. Now, Tyrod said that he took A.D. Mitchell and John Mechie III underneath his wing this week at practice, and he really wanted to make sure they were all on the same page, and you can feel that they were. And I feel like John Mechie, you talk about his story, it's absolutely ridiculous when you break it down. Like, he tears his ACL in Alabama at the end of the college football season. It's supposed to be a first-round pick, right? And then he falls to the 2nd round, and then he gets diagnosed with cancer in his rookie season. Like, the guy, unfortunately, has never really had an opportunity to, establish himself. He now all of a sudden he's healthy with Houston. There's a lot of receivers ahead of him on the depth chart. He doesn't get his opportunity really, and when he gets his opportunity, it's not really a big one. He gets shipped over to Philadelphia, a crowded wide receiver room that they don't even throw the football. And now he's getting his chance with the Jets as a starter. And now he looks like a legit wide receiver that has separation, speed, yak ability. He has a high football IQ. Like, this is a guy that is taking his opportunity and running with it. And that should excite you, because heading into this season, a huge weakness that every Jets fan was talking about is the wide receiver spot next to Garrett Wilson. And honestly, it's not great that we have Garrett Wilson injured, But there could be a blessing in disguise that Garrett's down right now because it is giving John Mechie his chances. It's giving A.D. Mitchell his shot. When Garrett Wilson gets healthy at the back end of the season, we're going to have 3 wide receivers that are young that you're like, wait, like, I like this trio, Garrett Wilson and John Mechie, and if A.D. Mitchell can start showing signs of improvement, who did not have a drop yesterday, like, that's really good receivers to be excited about from the long-term perspective. And then you go into the offseason to draft another one early on in the draft, or maybe bring in a wide receiver in free agency, and then you're looking at Garrett Wilson, Mechie, A.D. Mitchell, and a new rookie. I mean, Arian Smith as well had a nice end around. Like, all of a sudden, a position of weakness is turning into a strength if they continue to develop. And I think Darren Muji has done a really good job of recognizing the weaknesses on this roster and finding players in the trade market. A big weakness on this team heading into the season was interior defensive line. What does Darren Muji do? He trades for 2 players in August, Jawan Briggs, Harrison Phillips. Both of them has been fantastic. Honing in on Jawan Briggs real quick. His upside is ridiculous because when you trade away Quinnen, you need that guy in the middle that can get to the quarterback, and he's showing flashes to get to the quarterback consistently on the interior of the defensive line. And I don't know about you guys, but when we traded Quinnen and Sauce, I expected this defense to take a huge step back, but they're getting better. Like, I'm not looking at these games on defense like, wow, like, we really cannot get a stop. Like, we stink. We were not getting turnovers with Quinnen and Sauce. We're still not getting turnovers. That needs to get figured out. But the defense is getting better even without them, and that is all about the brand that Aaron Glenn is trying to establish. It does not matter what name you have on the back of your jersey. When you're wearing the Jets jersey and you're playing on this football field, representing this football team, you all have to play with the same style, the same energy, the same brand, and we're seeing that. Azareye'h Thomas, in his return to action, he had some, hiccups. He had that penalty that I really don't think was on him. It was a face mask that DeAndre Hopkins ripped his helmet off, but they called it on A.Z. Thomas. He got beat by D-Hop as well for a potential touchdown, but Lamar Jackson was unable to be accurate with it. He did have some good plays. He did have a missed tackle. A.Z. Thomas did not have a great game, but I still feel like he is learning as a rookie, and I'm giving him that leeway here, and I think the Jets are as well. Azareye'h Thomas, if he can establish himself, because I feel like A.Z. Thomas is playing like Sauce does. I mean, no offense to Sauce Gardner. We all loved him. I mean, I definitely did. But in terms of impacting winning, I don't see a big difference from Sauce to A.Z. Thomas so far. Sauce does not get interceptions, and A.Z. Thomas hasn't had a pick yet. So if A.Z. Thomas can continue to develop and he can really establish himself, and now he does not have to be an all-pro like Sauce Gardner. He does not have to be, a multi-time, like $30 million a year corner eventually for the Jets. But if he can become solid and be not a liability out there, that is a big reason why the Jets traded Sauce. It's not just because they felt like they can get 2 firsts and A.D. Mitchell, but it's because of their belief in Azareye'h Thomas. So I'm going to keep watching his development because that's an exciting feature. Now, I also got to give a shout out to one individual player who definitely had a really good game. Jamion Sherwood led the Jets in 13 tackles. He was all over the field. This is a really good sign because the Jets gave him a big-time contract in the offseason, and he is the captain of this defense. He needs to establish himself as a leader of this squad, and he was able to keep everybody collected and do their job. Now, again, the Jets did not win the game, so there's not a lot of praise to go around, but I do feel like there's a lot of things to be excited about, and the last guy I want to bring up is Breece Hall. Now, his fumble is going to overshadow the great game he had. Like, that drive is like, I still want Breece to be part of this team. And I really do like how Aaron Glenn handled Breece Hall's fumble. I don't know if you saw the video, but Aaron Glenn had his arm around Breece Hall coming off the field after fumbling. He's amping him up, right? He's not going to get in his face and scream at him because Breece Hall is a guy that is very hard on himself. So he doesn't need a coach to be hard on him, honestly, because he beats himself up so much. So he needs kind of support in those situations. Aaron Glenn said in the press conference, Breece Hall's my guy. Like, this is a guy we're going to ride and die for no matter what. Obviously, mistakes happen. Obviously, mistakes need to get cleaned up, but we're going to ride or die for Breece. And I really, really hope that Breece is part of this future, man, because that's a guy that needs to clean up the fumbles, of course, especially at the goal line. But we would not be in that situation as a Jets offense in the fourth quarter to be in a position to score without Breece. I mean, that check down to Breece, spin move, cutting down the right sideline. I mean, the guy is a beast, man. So shout out to Breece Hall. We love you here. keep developing. Hopefully that can be a guy that we build around for the future, whether that's a franchise tag or it is a contract extension. We'll see. But that's my overall thoughts of the current state of the New York Jets after their loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments as well if I missed on anything, because I'm sure there's a lot I missed in this video. So make sure you let me know in the comments. Comment down below a plane emoji if you stayed to the end. And I got to give a big shout out to Sleeper Picks for being the proud sponsor of the channel all season long. You guys can check them out by using my code JETS, and you will get a 100% match up to $100. Big shout out to Sleeper Picks for being the proud sponsor of the channel. Terms and conditions apply. Legal in 25 states as always. And now looking ahead real quick to the Falcons game. I know that's a big one. The Falcons are not a good football team. They're coming off a win, but the Jets got to be on their A game. And the next 4 games is, you could argue, pretty winnable for the Jets. They got the Falcons, the Dolphins, the Saints, and I think the Jaguars, perhaps. So I know there's a lot of pro tankers out there, but based off what I'm seeing, I think the Jets could potentially win 2 of the next 4 games. So we shall see. Only time will tell. We got all week to talk about this team in totality and preview this Jets-Falcons game. So feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm out of here, folks. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. I'm going to be on the road this week. I'm going to my sister's down in Virginia, so I'm not going to be really making as much content as I can, but I'll try my best. Love you guys, and let's go Jets.